Did you ever wonder why some people got incredibly rich with Bitcoin while others lost everything? And what if I told you that everything you know about money might be wrong? Let me share a fascinating story with you. It's a story about money, power, and how a single idea changed the entire financial world. Picture this. New York City, September 2008. The American financial system is collapsing. Lehman Brothers employees are leaving their offices with boxes of personal belongings. Bear Stearns has already fallen. Bank of America is forced to buy Merrill Lynch for a fraction of its former value. Citigroup and Wells Fargo are teetering on the edge. This wasn't just the fall of one bank, it was the beginning of the greatest financial crisis America had seen since the Great Depression. How did this happen? For years, America's biggest banks had been giving out mortgage loans to almost anyone who asked. They packaged these risky mortgages into complex financial products and sold them as safe investments. Wall Street made billions speculating on these securities. And here's the most shocking part. When these same banks were about to fail, they were saved with taxpayer money through the controversial TARP program. They were deemed too big to fail. Think about that. Banks made huge profits during the good times, then got rescued with public money when their bets went wrong. The government took money from taxpayers, and the Federal Reserve printed even more, leading to the largest economic stimulus in American history at that time. But could anything be done about this unfairness? Could there be money that doesn't depend on banks or government decisions? It seemed impossible. Yet in 2008, when America's banking system was in chaos, someone using the name Satoshi Nakamoto published a revolutionary document titled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. This mysterious paper proposed something unprecedented, a form of digital money that would work without banks, without government oversight, controlled only by mathematics and computer code. Let me explain how this works with a simple example that every American can understand. Imagine you're keeping track of who owes money in your friend group after a weekend in Vegas. You could write it all in a notebook, but what stops someone from changing the numbers later? That's the problem with centralized record keeping. Now imagine instead that everyone in the group has an identical copy of all transactions. Every time someone pays or receives money, all copies are updated simultaneously. If anyone tries to cheat by changing their copy, it would immediately stand out because it wouldn't match everyone else's records. This is the basic idea behind blockchain, a system where everyone keeps the same record, making it virtually impossible to cheat. But how is new Bitcoin created, you might ask? Think of Bitcoin miners like digital gold miners. Just as the California gold rush prospectors used picks and shovels to extract gold, Bitcoin miners use powerful computers to solve complex mathematical problems. When a miner successfully solves one of these problems, they're rewarded with new Bitcoin. This process ensures that new Bitcoin enters the system at a predictable rate, similar to how the Federal Reserve controls the money supply, but with one crucial difference. No human decides when or how much Bitcoin is created. It's all controlled by code. On January 3, 2009, just months after Lehman Brothers' collapse, Satoshi created the first Bitcoin block. In it, he embedded a headline from that day's New York Times, "Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks," a permanent reminder of why Bitcoin was created. 9 days later, the first Bitcoin transaction took place when Satoshi sent 10 Bitcoins to American programmer Hal Finney. Like the first email or the first phone call, this simple transaction would change history. At first, Bitcoin was worth less than a penny. Most Americans who heard about it dismissed it as internet funny money, but a small group of tech-savvy enthusiasts saw its potential and became the early miners and users. The real breakthrough came in May 2010 in Jacksonville, Florida. A programmer named Laszlo Haniec made history by making the first real-world Bitcoin purchase. He offered 10,000 Bitcoins for 2 Papa John's pizzas. At the time, those 10,000 Bitcoins were worth about $40. Today, they would be worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Those became known as the most expensive pizzas ever bought, and May 22nd is now celebrated as Bitcoin Pizza Day in the crypto community. But this raised an important question. What made people start valuing Bitcoin? Why did its price keep rising? To understand Bitcoin's value, we need to look at the history of money in America. When the colonies were first established, they each printed their own money. During the Revolutionary War, the Continental Congress printed so much continental currency to fund the war that it became worthless, giving us the phrase "not worth a continental." Hey, while we're exploring this fascinating history, take a moment to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I publish new videos every week breaking down complex financial topics like this one. Join thousands of investors who already follow this channel to learn about money, markets, and wealth building. In 1792, the young nation established the US dollar, backed by gold and silver. For the next century, Americans used a mix of government and private bank currencies. It wasn't until the Federal Reserve was created in 1913 that America finally had a unified national currency system. Then came 1933, when President Franklin D. Roosevelt made private gold ownership illegal, forcing Americans to use paper dollars. Finally, in 1971, President Nixon completely severed the connection between dollars and gold. Today's U.S. banking system is more complex than ever. Your money isn't just sitting in the bank. Banks use it to make loans and investments. The Federal Reserve, our central bank, controls the money supply by essentially creating new dollars with a few keystrokes. The 2008 crisis showed the dangers of this system, but the 2023 collapse of Silicon Valley Bank proved these problems haven't gone away. When too many customers wanted their money back at once, even a major bank couldn't deliver. This reveals a startling truth. The dollars in your bank account aren't really yours. They're just numbers on a screen, backed by the bank's promise to pay you back. While Bitcoin was revolutionary, it had limitations. It could only handle 7 transactions per second, compared to Visa's 24,000. For Bitcoin to compete with traditional payment systems, it needed to evolve. American tech companies and entrepreneurs saw the opportunity. Coinbase, founded in San Francisco, made buying crypto as easy as using a banking app. Silicon Valley started pouring billions into blockchain technology. But the real game changer came in 2015. A young programmer named Vitalik Buterin launched Ethereum, taking Bitcoin's basic technology and supercharging it with new capabilities. By 2020, cryptocurrency had caught Wall Street's attention. Major American institutions like Fidelity and Goldman Sachs started offering crypto services, but with this growth came new challenges. The SEC, America's financial watchdog, started cracking down on crypto companies. Exchanges like FTX collapsed, losing billions in customer funds. The message was clear: the Wild West days of crypto were ending. This created a divide in America's crypto industry. Some companies, like Coinbase, embraced regulation and worked with authorities. Others moved offshore, away from U.S. oversight. Imagine buying a house without lawyers, title insurance, or endless paperwork. That's what smart contracts promise: automatic, trustless transactions. Here's a real example from Texas. A house was sold using a smart contract in 2021. The entire process took hours instead of weeks. The contract automatically verified the buyer's funds, transferred the title, and released payment to the seller. This is part of a larger movement called DeFi, decentralized finance. It's like a parallel financial system, running on code instead of banks. The Federal Reserve isn't sitting idle. They're developing a digital dollar, a central bank digital currency, CBDC, that would combine the efficiency of crypto with the stability of the US dollar. China is already testing their digital yuan. Europe is developing a digital euro. America can't afford to fall behind in this digital currency race. But this raises important questions about privacy and freedom. A CBDC would give the government unprecedented visibility into every transaction you make. So, where does this leave us? We're witnessing a battle for the future of money. On one side, we have decentralized cryptocurrencies promising financial freedom. On the other, governments and central banks trying to maintain control through digital currencies. The America of 2030 might have multiple forms of money: traditional dollars, a digital dollar, various cryptocurrencies, and maybe even corporate currencies from companies like Meta or Amazon. The question isn't whether digital money will become dominant. It's already happening. The question is, who will control it? We're living through the biggest change in money since the invention of banking. Just as the internet transformed how we communicate, blockchain and digital currencies are transforming how we trade and store value. Whether you're excited or scared about this change, one thing is certain: it's happening. The question is, will you be prepared? Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below.